What's raging, gamers? Holler at you, boy! What's happening, HenricK The WrecK?
Oh, as always, I'm doing great. But as you can see, it's still cold in SoCal.
Yeah, I know, big time, brother. It is cold, but we want to welcome you all for tuning in live to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. We got a lot going on, a lot of things happening early this morning, so we might as well jump into the first item of business. This is breaking news. This is happening in real time. We are getting reports that Take-Two Interactive has filed a lawsuit against Remedy Entertainment over its new R logo. And I know some people, gamers that are like, I'm not too familiar with Take-Two Interactive. Why are you showing me Rockstar Games? Rockstar Games is Take-Two Interactive.
Yeah.
But when you see this, HenricK, clearly they feel like the R is theirs. I didn't even know you could trademark a letter.
Hey, it's not the first time a company's tried to, copyright a letter or a concept. If they get away with this, it's going to be real funny, though.
Yeah, big time, because considering how the old logo still had like a half R, I guess you could say, inside an oval, and now they're going with this new approach. But what I think is very strange about this news, gamers out there, I don't know if people realize that Remedy Entertainment is collaborating with Take-Two Interactive to make a remastered version of Max Payne 1 and 2. So this is random timing.
That's like, working with a partner and a team in school or something, and then just being like, going to the teacher and being like, by the way, they're cheating.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very strange. Most likely, this is going to get dismissed. This is outlandish, and the fact that that is trending towards Take-Two Interactive's way, kind of shameful, gotta say.
Yeah.
But also, we got a first glimpse at Tomb Raider Remastered 1, 2, and 3 showcase. But I gotta say, this is like the shortest first glimpse I've ever seen, ever. I mean, yes, there are artwork with this trailer, but I'm not kidding, fam. They only released 7 seconds of it. Maybe they wanted you to anticipate it for next month, but let's go ahead and take a look at the very first glimpse. Wow, are you excited, HenricK?
I mean, it's a drastic difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange. I mean, let's give the gamers an overall look. As you can clearly see, boss levels now have health bars. Graphics have gotten a little impeccable, but I'm kind of missing the triangles, if you know what I mean.
All right, we're not going polygons.
There. Yeah, we need more polygons. What the heck's going on? But that is the cool feature. You can go back and forth. You can revisit the old school format, including the controls, or you can go to the modern edition of what's enhanced with this remastered version. But we always like to start off the show with the bang and show you guys what's been circulating all across the globe this week. And the biggest news that was going global was the fact that Sony is now in partnership with Honda to make cars, and it's called the Afeela. But that is not why we are discussing this. The reason why we're discussing this is the showcase and the fact that no one was inside the vehicle. What was going on, HenricK? Do you want to kind of hint to them what was happening?
Well, you guys remember the submarine incident?
Oh, you went right there right away.
Yeah, they were using a controller for that, like a gaming controller. Well, they're not underwater in this, but they are controlling the car with a controller.
It's insane.
That we're going to show in a second.
Yeah, let's go ahead and showcase to the people who missed out on this viral video.
But today, I will using this. This is a PlayStation controller, DualSense. Using this controller, I'd like to show you
I'm assuming, HenricK, he's not telling the consumer what he's holding in his hand, because there's reports that there's a new DualSense PS5 controller in the works. Does that have a 12-hour battery life? I have no clue, fam. But that
My
is definitely...
concern with this was, you better not mix up which controller you have set up with your car, because if you all of a sudden are like, oh, let me play some PS5 games, and then you pull out the controller that's linked to your car, you might actually crash that into your house.
Yeah, I mean, I drive a Ford Explorer, but I know I have friends that can't stand when someone takes control of the Bluetooth and starts changing up the music, and they become the DJ inside the car. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I mean, it is terrifying. But the first comment that we got here is, it's all fun and games until you get stick drift. Very true. Very good point. That is the gamer mindset in all of us. And as HenricK The WrecK was suggesting, did we learn nothing from the submarine? Clearly not.
For real.
But it is very fun to show online, right? It's just the fact that you're even able to do that. And last, all fun and games until someone connects to your car with their controller. Very real point. Everybody's accustomed to that same feeling. And hey, if this is the car for you, a feel car, hey, Sony, Honda, you might be able to do your thing. But yeah, they've been hyping this up for a year, and we'll see where this goes in the future. But there's a lot of people that were kind of slamming Mark Zuckerberg because he was going viral for making a joke about bunker talk, because I think this was kind of a suggestion towards Cat Williams when he was on Club Shay Shay's podcast, and Cat Williams was going off on all kinds of different comedians in the industry, but then also went deviated in the interview to a point where a lot of these dictators or world leaders are the ones with the finger on the trigger when it comes to, a nuclear war. And he goes, the biggest difference, HenricK, is the people back then were smarter because they were scientists. Now we got a bunch of toddlers running around making these choices. He was making suggestions like Kim Jong-un and others. So with that in mind, Mark Zuckerberg tried to find a way to get creative and show off his bunker theater. And I don't know about you, I'm jealous. This thing looks bitchin'. And Mark, if you need a friend, I'll be your friend.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know?
I knew it. Again?
Yeah, we'll be up in a few minutes.
I mean, how cool is that? I mean, we see videos all the time where like people are get lucky enough to rent out a movie theater, but that is massive. I mean, if you had the opportunity to play one game right at this moment, HenricK, what is that go-to game that you would love to see on the big screen playing it?
Oh, you got to go with the classic. The classic Halo.
Okay. See, I was not anticipating you saying that. I was kind of feeling like Ghost of Tsushima. It's so beautiful, that game, that I want to see it on a larger screen. So that's where my mindset would go. But people were kind of hating on this, like the first comment that we got here was, when they're trying to turn the bunker into a joke amid public scrutiny, that's because the bunker is definitely real. Well, yeah, he showed it to you.
Yeah, he was like, I'm going to do something relatable. They'll relate to this, right?
Yeah, but it's not like it's going to be like Volt 101. There's a keypad. You better know the code or you're going to explode, I guess, before you even make it into the bunker theater. And I'm sure that he's got other things that he's got a custom inside that bunker. But hey, let's move along. The next comment we got here is, yes, very relatable. I hate when my wife catches me in my doomsday bunker. Yeah, that's why we have man caves. You need to have your own separate space, my man. I see, guys and girls and whatever your sexual preference is, everybody's gaming together. You might want to keep it in separate rooms. But wait till she finds out there's an octagon in your bunker. Yeah, he's not playing UFC 5. No one is. Oh, it's not that good. But he's clearly has an octagon, probably set up in another room. I mean, how big's this bunker? I think that's the next real question that we want to know.
Yeah. It's probably pretty big, though, considering his wealth. I'd imagine it's pretty big.
It's very massive, I can only imagine. But last, for the viral clips that were circulating all across the globe this week was NBA 2K League is back. I mean, we are getting closer to the month of March where, we got the whole college frenzy going on. And then in April, the NBA playoffs start to kick in. But that's not stopping the video game world from getting into what they're about to pursue in the new year. This is the year of the Mamba after all, right? 2024. Well, this video kind of made me laugh. They're really living it up to the expectations. I mean, we showed a viral clip last year of just like people shit talking in an NBA 2K League. I mean, it's very intense. It's like as if we're on the black court with them. But this video is going viral for positive and negative. If you don't know what I mean, let's go ahead and take a look.
In terms of improving my 5v5 game, because he just can't be that one-dimensional guy. He's proven to be one of the best 3v3 players we've ever seen at his position.
And my first thoughts on this is it looks exactly like the Cristiano Ronaldo meme template where he's accepting an award.
yeah, exactly. Well, I just love as he's walking up to the stage, they're just like, oh man, this guy's a beast when it comes to the 3-point line. He's really an asset to players. Well, people had a field day with the comments. First one we got was bro's walking up like he's the number one pick in the NBA. Yeah, the number one pick in the NBA 2K League. Do you hate the man? I actually like this life. Or I actually like this is too short. Have some fun. Oh my gosh, what a tongue twister, my man. Too early for that. Okay, next one. All y'all saying this sad dude life about change just for playing a video game? Don't be jealous. Don't be a hater. But are you a hater? I mean, on a level, it is kind of laughable. Look,
yeah, no, definitely. This is a whole big production just for 2K League. But
yeah.
Hey, you know what? At the same time, I appreciate that they're giving people some recognition for their skills.
Well, get used to it. I mean, esports is becoming more prevalent as the years go on, and you're going to see a lot more of these draft classes, as you clearly could see with the NBA 2K League. But hey, let's go ahead and start to set the tone and let the people know what's good. But before we even get into the mix, I want to make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you go ahead and take a screenshot or scan the QR code, you will be able to follow my YouTube channel along with HenricK The WrecK, right? Let the people know what's good. Like, share, and subscribe, fam. But hey, let's stick around because we got a jam-packed show for everybody that's tuning on in. So you ready to rock and roll, HenricK The WrecK?
Oh, you know it. I'm ready to rage.
Hey, let's get it, fam.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is the Talos Principle 2. The Talos Principle 2 is a puzzle game by Crow Team, a developer also known for the Serious Sam series. This being a sequel to the first, which was regarded as an excellent game, the sequel has some big shoes to fill. So let's jump right into looking at what the game has to offer by first looking at the gameplay. The gameplay of the Talos Principle 2 starts off just like the first game, but after the brief tutorial, you are then thrust into a game that focuses on world building, as well as delivering narrative through exploration, and of course, plenty of puzzles to solve. However, don't expect the game to throw the same exact puzzles at you as the first. This game takes a Portal 2 approach to things, building on what made the first game great and adding creative and head-scratching mechanics. New mechanics include the return of the beam connector, but with an RGB twist, or controlling another android. Which leads us to the story. Why are we here and who are we playing? Unlike the first game, this game takes place outside the simulation. To put it briefly, humanity is gone due to a virus. After the events of the first game, a goal is set to build 1,000 new humans, android-like beings with sentient human consciousnesses. You play as the last new human ever to be built, dubbed 1K. But right as the celebration of reaching the goal starts, a mysterious collection of light particles interrupts, introducing introduces themselves as Prometheus and invites an expedition to a distant island. From there, you set out on the adventure to the island alongside some companions to unravel the mystery and encounter the puzzles along the way. But now the question still stands: pause or repeat?
This game is really interesting because not only does it, make you feel really smart when you finish these puzzles that are real head scratchers sometimes, but you really have a little bit of a chance to do some RPG elements with a lot of the cast members and the whole 1,000 population of androids, or new humans as they call them in the game. And I have to say, the RPG elements are actually a little bit better than Starfield.
Oh, okay. Now you're out of pocket for that. I mean, you really want to keep riding that bandwagon all the way to the year 2024 with this, and we're never gonna let that go with Starfield. Golly,
but I mean, you get to talk with these other characters, have full-on philosophical conversations, and really discuss something. Whereas, I didn't really feel like you got to do that in Starfield. But, that was another game.
Hey,
We're
some
talking about
people
the
would beg
Talos
to differ.
Principle.
I think that's a bit shameful. You're being a little too harsh on Starfield. But hey, we're here to talk about the Talos Principle too. And as you started off with that kick-ass video, the sequel starts off thousands of years after the first game that was released in 2014. Athena, which you met at the end of the original game, introduce you as 1K, the final android. And, you said head scratching. I say hair pulling. These puzzles are so freaking darn difficult. I mean, what's really cool about it is in the first game, you had your crystal refractors and you had puzzles that involved light beams, but now there are new mechanics, including portals or an anti-gravity machine, which allows you to walk on the walls and the ceiling. So there's new elements that make it very, very fun. But the reason why I say hair pulling, Henrik, is there's no hint system. Like, what the hell? I mean, yeah, there are options to be able to collect, helpful tokens to be able to skip some puzzles. But guys, that's not for free.
Yeah.
You got to go and find those hidden collectible resources all throughout the new land of New Jerusalem. So,
and then once you use it, it's stuck in that puzzle until you solve the puzzle for real.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I think what's going to make you want to stick it to the end is because of what you just stated. The storytelling and character development throughout the whole game is a major, major plus because it will keep you focused all the way until the end, because there are a lot of times you're going to be playing this game, you're going to be so freaking frustrated, you're going to walk away, you might place your ass on the toilet. We all do it. We all scrolling through memes and looking at YouTube shorts, and then all of a sudden it clicks. It's like, holy crap, no pun intended, but you know what I mean. I think I solved the puzzle, and then you're going to go run back to your PC or you're going to run back to your console and you're going to want to go and complete this entire game. But because it's so frustrating, Henrik, I'm going to say it's a pause. It doesn't mean it's a terrible game. I'm not really high on puzzles, like puzzle games like this, just because, again, I'm trying to have a good time. I'm not trying to get frustrated. You know what I'm saying? So that case in mind, I mean, that's how I feel. But you, the gamers, let us know what's good. But Henrik, how are you feeling about this game?
Yeah, actually, yes, it is a very hard game when it comes down to solving a lot of these puzzles that are very, like you said, hair pulling rather than just head scratching. But I will say, I think it's a repeat for me, considering there's actually a lot you can explore. There's definitely stuff that you miss in your first playthrough unless you're following a walkthrough. And at the same time, also, there's multiple endings, just like the first game. So all that combined, in my view of things, it looks like I would want to play this game again, actually. And, it probably would be easier the second time through, considering the puzzles don't really change.
Oh, you might remember certain things,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of puzzles, so you're probably not going to remember everything, but you'll kind of remember, the fundamentals of how puzzles go together, so it'll be easier the second time through. That being said, it is a pretty long puzzle game, so if you're not really too down with puzzles, like, puzzles are really my weakest genre of video game to play through.
I think it's every gamer's weakest genre. Let's be real. What other genre would be weaker than a puzzle game?
That's fair. That's fair. But
You know?
I will say, usually I only mostly struggle with puzzles if they're really hard or if they're thrown into the middle of a different genre of video game, like an action genre, and then all of a sudden there's a puzzle. I'm like, I'm not in the mindset for this right now, but
let's just put it this way. If you're a cat that's played like games like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and they have those moments where you find a little tomb or whatever, and you get to have to solve a puzzle. If you get frustrated playing that, then you ain't gonna like this game. Because that is very mediocre in Star Wars compared to what is being brought up in the Talos Principle 2. So very cool, to kind of see a game that was around a decade ago get revitalized for a brand new generation and a new audience and for returning gamers. So if this game is for you, let the people know it's good. Comment live throughout the show because your voice will be featured on air.
Absolutely. And yeah, let us know if you like the game, because you see what we see about the game, but your opinion's probably different than ours.
Yeah. Hey, that's the beauty of life. But hey, we got a lot more sticking around here on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So, HenricK The WrecK, you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Absolutely. Let's get it.
What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK The WrecK and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. The Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, has announced a new deal which it claims will protect actors from unauthorized AI replications of their voices. The announcement was going viral on their Instagram platform. So if you missed their IG reel, here is a glimpse.
Very pleased to announce SAG-AFTRA's new agreement with Replica Studios, which paves the way for professional voiceover artists to safely explore new employment opportunities for their digital voice replicas with industry-leading protections tailored to AI technology, allowing video game studios and other companies working with Replica to access top SAG-AFTRA talent.
I think this is a huge deal for the industry. Number one, talent. Huge benefit for talent, huge deal for talent. Because now you have a SAG-AFTRA contract. It's a strong contract. It requires performance consent. It sets fair compensation standards. So you have the 3 C's taken care of. In addition to that, we're creating new revenue streams here. We're not replacing the old way of doing things. So you're exploring new revenue opportunities, and I'm very excited by the future of what we might unlock over the course of the coming years.
However, the deal which has been made with AI firm Replica Studios has a prominent voice actor speaking out online stating that they weren't told about a landmark deal setting out how voices generated by artificial intelligence can be used in video games. And when I mean highly elite voiceover actors in the gaming world are pissed off, they are, I can't even say it online. I mean, let me be more pissed, man. Let's go ahead with the first comment because we got Steve Bloom. If you don't know Steve Bloom, he's highly recognized as a prominent figure in the voiceover world. I mean, he's recognized by the Guinness World Record, and he wrote, "Excuse me, with all due respect, you state in the article, quote, approved by affected members of the union's voiceover performer community, end quote. Nobody in our community approved this that I know of. Games are the bulk of my livelihood and have been for years." Who are you referring to? And if you might be wondering, who is Steve Bloom again? I mean, Steve Bloom has done roles in Cowboy Bebop, Mortal Kombat, God of War. So, I mean, these are highly credible people. Next person we got here is Greg Baldwin. He is a voice actor from Avatar, The Last Airbender, and he wrote, "I will not sign my own effing pink slip. You betrayed us. Few regards, a voice actor at SAG-AFTRA." Next comment we got here is from Samantha A. Morrison, a voice acting casting director, which that is crazy to even see. You know, we got voiceover actors, and now we have a casting director speaking out, showcasing the quote, approved by affected members of the union's voiceover performer community, end quote. SAG-AFTRA, straight up spreading lies. No voice actor would willingly approve this. AI has no place in voiceover or the arts in general. Stop lying, show us the terms, and prepare for another strike. Man,
once
that's
again, who are you referring to when you said that somebody approved this?
Exactly. There's a lot of questions. And also we got Veronica Taylor. Veronica Taylor has voice credits that include Ash Ketchum in the Pokemon anime series and Cosmos in the Final Fantasy video game franchise. And Veronica wrote, "How is this agreement passed without a notice or vote? Quote, voice to be used as a training data set. Why can't the actual actor be used for the video game? Every job brings a unique opportunity for an actor to ... act. So encouraging and allowing AI replacement is a slippery slope downward." And then we got Damian Haas. Damian Haas wrote, "At this point, I can't tell what drives your actions. More direct malice, short-sighted greed, or sheer incompetence. Regardless, you failed us yet again, SAG-AFTRA." And I mean, these are someone, who is in the industry trying to make a living and just totally getting thrashed apart. And last, we got Xander Mobus, who wrote, "Effing who? Did any of y'all approve this? I didn't get told we were voting on this. SAG leadership, please, I'm begging you, stop showing your ass and do something to keep us working. Your job. You ain't licensors. You are a labor union. The hell are y'all doing?" And this is an individual who has worked with being the announcer in Super Smash Bros. So, I mean, again, these are a lot of highly well-known people in the industry that feel completely blindsided by this move, Henrik. And I mean, look at these two dildos. I mean, look at the Franz and Duncan. I mean, these are the two jackasses that are running the ship for SAG that put the fear factor with even the WGA, which is the Writing Guild of America, along with the Screen Actors Guild of America, freaking the freak out over AI taking over the industry, and then behind closed doors decides that, you know what? We now have a better understanding after 4 months what AI is all about, and we're here to protect you. We have new compensation revenues, which no one knows how that works. So, Henrik, how do you feel about this? What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, when you look at the industry and how things are changing based on the technology continuing to grow, it's something that you have to address. You have to address that AI is a growing technology and people are starting to use it or voiceover work to replicate other people's voices. Considering that technology is growing so quickly, you really have to address this as quickly as you can. At the same time, though, this was not the move. Nobody likes that policy that you now enacted, clearly, because we have all these voice actors speaking out saying, I didn't even know that there was a policy that was being voted on.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
who was in the room? Who was in the room with these people making this decision? Because I want to know.
Everybody's clearly wanting to know.
Because, who are you to say that?
Who signs a contract without a vote? Who signs a contract
Yeah.
without a vote, especially with a union like SAG that's representing a large majority of cats? And we also got reports this week that almost 40% of jobs around the world could be affected by the rise of AI, a trend that is likely to deepen inequality, according to the International Monetary Fund. So when you hear these reports, and even myself, even last season in season 3 of Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, has expressed that the video game industry needs to push forward and embrace AI technology. I mean, it is going to ramp up and speed the production of video game development in the pre-production phase. But when it comes to, AI voices, my biggest concern when it comes to AI voices is it's there could be certain benefits. For one, there are certain cats out there that were voiceover actors who passed away last year. And there are franchises that are still going strong, like let's say Horizon Forbidden West. And they really want to push forward with their trilogy, but they lost their guy. Okay. And whether the family's estate wants to license his voice to be an AI, that's on the family to decide. But then there becomes a point where, let's say, Replica Studios gathers all these assets and you've used them over the years. And then after a while, you're like, thank you. I've worked with you guys for 5 years. I don't really like how the compensation's working my way because I'm not necessarily getting any more work anymore because they won't allow me to act because you guys got my voice and you're allowing to do everything for me, like in the finals. But it's like the joke I made last season. When we listened to the announcers on the finals game, for example, which got a lot of controversy from voiceover actors because they were upset that there were AI voices and not real humans voicing the game, I made a joke saying, and gamers, if listen to it, doesn't it sound like the news anchor on SpongeBob SquarePants? It sounds almost identical. And so the point that I'm trying to make to everyone, and SAG needs to really understand this, is how do we know that Replica Studios and other AI firms will not be using your voice even after the contract ends? I mean, how will you be able to figure out that kind of style of blueprint? I don't think there's a way to work around it. So if I was a voiceover actor, yes, I would be very, 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 very concerned compared to someone in post-production who is bitching about AI coming into the mix where it's like, nah, dog, you need to really kind of embrace that because it's only going to speed up your production. But then again, I guess Replica Studios could throw that back at me and go, well, that's exactly what we're doing for indie developers. We're speeding up the process. So
that's the thing,
it's
though.
a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope because, sure, AI can speed up the development process, but at the same time, if it's being used as a crutch to cut corners, that's where there's a problem. Because now you're not putting in the passion and the effort that you could have put in by actually getting someone into the studio to record lines, fresh lines, and actually act and, interact with people who are in the studio developing the game at the same time. I don't know if you're going to be able to, right now at least, get the same feel that you would from some actual person in the studio compared to saying, let me type in a prompt to this AI model and then see what comes out.
And that's the argument, right? People are feeling like, how is this AI robot going to be able to replicate emotions? Don't kid yourself. It's going to be able to do it in a few years from now. Trust me. It's going to get
very, very convincing.
But it's starting to feel like, we're going to see Jeff Keighley at the Game Awards. And it's going to start looking like a premise out of the Talos Principle 2, where the award goes to 1K. And it's a human robot walking up. And he's like, thank you for giving me a voice actor of the year. Thank you so much. But, I think it's important to also highlight Replica Studios' statement from the CEO. And we have that quote here. And he said, we are excited by the new opportunities this opens up for the world-leading AAA studios who can now access the benefits of Replica's AI voice technology while knowing that the talent is recognized and compensated fairly for the use of their likeness. And what I find, again, just with these two dildos, Franz and Duncan, because these two people, and you can leave the lower third on screen. I mean, just look at these people. I mean, these are the people that literally freaked the hell out 4 months ago saying that AI is a grave danger for the entertainment spec of all people's jobs in pre-production, production, and post-production. And then they move along, making this move. And does anybody remember that there was almost another strike that got initiated in October where they were trying to go after 10 AAA studios because of AI? Again, What changed? And we're not hearing that from the leadership. So don't be surprised again in 2024. And I know it feels like the people that are not in the entertainment space are going, dude, this is kind of getting annoying. This is kind of a headache. But rightfully so. People are losing their livelihood to these kind of things. And we also remember we reported a story on the LA Times where there was a bundle pack being sold on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 where the guy worked with the company 10 years ago and then ended up finding out that his name, image, and likeness was all being used without his consent. So again, if they're doing that kind of shit and then all of a sudden Okay, how are you able to figure this kind of thing out? You, the gamers, comment. We want to hear from you guys because I don't think anybody has a real right answer. But if I was under any of those voiceover actors, I would be protesting like crazy. I wouldn't settle for this. And sadly, you almost want to wish that there was another union to join, but there's not. And so SAG kind of dictates where these industry performers go, which is very, very unfortunate. Hey, let's go ahead and start to switch some gears. What's going on? You know, there's some industry talk arising again with the NFT space.
Yeah, this time in regards to GameStop of all things. So
I know, right?
GameStop, the popular gaming retailer, has announced that it will be phasing out its NFT marketplace next month due to regulatory uncertainty. The closure is the latest step in GameStop's attempt to move away from the crypto space after having previously committed to it. They were pretty deep in there, actually. The company ended support for its own crypto wallet in November 2023, again citing the, quote, regulatory uncertainty of the crypto space as the reason for this, because, who's doing that anymore?
Yeah, exactly. And so this was the announcement. It says GameStop has decided to wind down on our NFT marketplace due to the continuing regulatory uncertainty of the crypto space. So effective as of February 2nd, 2024, customers will no longer be able to buy, sell, or create NFTs. Your NFTs are on the blockchain and will remain accessible and saleable through other platforms. So let's go ahead and go to the comments. First comment that we got here is, GameStop had an NFT marketplace? Literally did not know that was a thing. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know that was a thing either. I thought that was crazy. I remember they opened up the crypto wallet, didn't realize that they doubled down on the NFT.
They had a controversy actually, even in regards to one of the NFTs being a picture of a man falling from the one of the twin towers from the 9/11 incident.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's okay. Wow. No comment. Wow. Okay. Bob Letarian. Okay, that's a hilarious name. He says, yeah, because NFTs are dead now and no one cares about them. I believe I speak for everyone when I say, ha ha.
If only we could do the voice, right?
Yeah, I know, right? I guess I need Replica Studios.
I guess so.
Laughing out loud, Twitter recently removed the NFT profile pictures feature, and now GameStop is closing its NFT marketplace. Game publishers, you sure you want to keep pursuing this fad? Good point.
We're looking at you, Square Enix.
That's right. And it's absolutely absurd that NFT fooled anyone in the first place by this imaginary non-existent concept of a digital signature for real money. Your digital signature will be associated with it for as long as the files exist on a server somewhere, though. It's all fake. And last, while GameStop's NFT marketplace closes, the technology behind NFTs is still innovative and could lead to new opportunities in digital asset trading. The journey of NFTs is just the beginning, and the market is likely to evolve and adapt to regulatory frameworks over time. Okay, he said an interesting point. He said it's innovative and could lead to new opportunities in digital asset trading. Is he talking that Donald Trump and his NFT trading cards? Is that going to be the helpful revival of the NFT space? I mean, what?
You could call that the Trump card.
Yeah, I mean, HenricK, I think what gamers need to understand is the NFT boom has nevertheless appeared to have been quelled significantly. I mean, in September 2023, research suggested that around 95% of NFT collections now had a market value of 0, according to a report by Dap Gamble that reviewed data from the NFT Scan and CoinMarketCap. So why can't we just kill off something like an NFT? Why is it still being straggled around? Because you just made that reference, Square Enix. Why do they still feel like that's such a major asset?
Well, I mean, there's money involved, Chris. Obviously,
okay.
The money always tells the story because there was always such a hype around this at the very peak of NFTs. And so all these companies jumped onto it at the peak. Mm-hmm. And now, with the value being 0 for a lot of these NFTs, like you just mentioned, they're in the sunk cost fallacy now, where they're like, well, we're already so deep in this. If we back out now, we either look weak or we lose a bunch of money.
But
So
I
let's
guess
just
like
keep going.
true, but like think about like what you referenced Square Enix. They have this thing called Symbiogenesis, which is incorporating NFT support in actual games that they have a part of their IP. So if it's only within their server, is it really an NFT? Isn't it just a DLC? I mean, wouldn't it be an NFT marketplace if everybody can come together? So it's starting to sound like a George Carlin skit. Like, you know, no, it's not going away. We'll embrace NFT. If Sega don't want to do it, we got it. Like, what are we doing?
Well, not even just that. Not even just the fact that it's on one server and not decentralized like they want NFTs to really be, but the whole idea of that. It is exactly like you said, a DLC basically, or a microtransaction which already exists. You're paying for something in a game. And there was always this conversation which always baffled me when NFTs were at their peak, where people were defending it in video games saying, oh, well, you know, the technology allows it so that if you buy an NFT in this game, you could take it to another game.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
How is that going to work?
How would that work?
Understand that there's if Activision Blizzard is selling an NFT, you really think that Square Enix is going to want me to put that in their game? No, I guess they're not going to work together.
The only difference is like when you have your Donald Trump NFT card, I guess it's always going to have a pro grade of 10 because you're never going to see it. You're never going to touch it. Compared if you had a Joe Namath, card. Yeah, you might have it at a grade 8. But I mean, I'm just baffled. And I definitely want to rehash the fact that, again, there is a report by Dab Gamble. It's all over the outlets if you want to read about it yourself during your own time, but around 95% of NFT collections now had a market value of 0. And to put that in perspective, there are over 73,257 NFT collections with a market cap. Well, that's how many there are overall, but now they reviewed over 69,795 that now have 0 Ether, which means $0. So, yeah, that's about 23 million people with worthless investments. So, very, very wild. Yeah. It is the right move for GameStop. Kudos for them for jumping off the hype train. But hey, we might as well switch gears if you're ready, HenricK The WrecK.
Yeah, what's going on with adaptations and The Last of Us specifically?
Yeah, there's a lot of adaptations that are, going to be coming in the year 2024, but The Last of Us guest star Nick Offerman has confirmed that there are ideas for a potential spin-off prequel series focused on fan favorite characters Bill and Frank. Nick Offerman picked up his first Emmy Award this month, taking home a gold statuette for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series for his performance as Bill in the 3rd episode of HBO's The Last of Us. And if you haven't seen the clip of him discussing this potential prequel series...
Great question that I would have to ask somebody with a higher pay grade than myself. It certainly has been pitched. I think we pitched... We were like, how about a whole mini-series of a prequel of their lives before they meet each other? Could be a musical. We're not short on ideas. We'll see what Craig and Neil come up with.
Are you interested in coming back?
Oh, sure. I mean, working with artists like this, if they can put me to work, I was lucky this time they needed a guy who could use a shovel. And there are only 3 of us in Hollywood. Harrison Ford passed, and Jane Lynch was not available.
You're the best.
So as you can clearly see here with that clip, Nick Offerman was joking when he said that he pitched a musical prequel. I hope he is, because I'm about to rage the F out if that's the case. If we literally get another musical, oh my gosh, fam. This is the problem even in the theater space.
I don't hate musicals, because I have a background in actually doing some theater.
Okay, but fair enough. But we're talking The Last of Us, man.
No, don't do a musical.
Please. I understand that. But why? Why do we need a prequel? I mean, we've already saw that The Walking Dead to the Fear of the Walking Dead, bringing it to Los Angeles. It's like, no, stop trying to readapt the wheel. Why do these video game adaptions that come to the cinematic screen always feel like they got to change the lore of what's so great about certain video game franchises. I mean, look no further, for example, than helmetless Master Chief, which is going to be returning very soon for season 2 of Paramount's Halo TV. And you might be wondering,
worst.
You know, and why is it the worst? Why are people so upset, HenricK?
Well, in an interview, and Pablo Schreiber, the actor who plays Master Chief, it's probably not even entirely his fault. It's probably higher up people.
It's definitely
who made
not
this
his
decision.
fault. Yeah, it's definitely not his
but
fault.
He defended in season 1, and he's defending now in this new interview for season 2 that you have to take off the helmet, because if you don't take off the helmet, then people, the audience, can't relate to the character.
Right.
Okay, listen to this for a second. 6 Halo games with Master Chief in them. He only takes his helmet off at the very end of the game, and you don't even see his face except for in one game. And even then, it's obstructed. It's obscured, you know?
Yeah. But it's been 2 decades, though.
Yeah, but are you saying that the gamers who played those games didn't relate to Master Chief in one way or the other? Because I did.
Yeah,
I understood what he was up on, what he was all about. You know, he's not that hard to understand because his body language tells everything.
Yeah, you kind of scratch your head a little bit when you hear those kind of comments. I mean, yeah, he's trying to protect his show. He wants to see another season 3 and for more seasons to come. So, I mean, obviously, you know, they're not asking questions about the new season. They keep rehashing this old thing that just keeps following him and haunting him because he, you know, they wanted to connect on a human level with a new audience because, you know, yeah, we understand from a gamer perspective, you never saw the face of a Master Chief hardly ever for almost 2 decades, but there's also a cinematic viewing audience that might not understand. Really? Have we not seen the Star Wars universe? Darth Vader, hello, the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
You know, like there wasn't that awesome when Pedro Pascal in season 2 finally, you know, took the helmet off. There was a really special, keen moment, and I feel like that's what the Halo gamers are trying to express to Paramount. You guys really pulled the trigger way too fast. I don't think people would be upset to see his face at one point because there's a lot of fans out there that are like, oh man, I love Pablo ever since he made a guest star appearance on Law and Order SVU. I will follow this man all the way until the end. But then you do this big, massive reveal. I feel like it was like the second or third episode. I think that's what's kind of, you know, ruffled people's feathers and kind of got people really, really upset about all of this.
Yeah, because there's no special moment in doing it. It's just, oh, okay, there he goes taking off his helmet again.
Yeah.
And it's a real shame because they had a missed opportunity in doing that. They could have, like you said, waited towards the end of the series and then been like, now he's going to take off his helmet. Oh, wow, he's Pablo Schreiber.
Yeah, so now we're doing it. So, you know, obviously, you know, we have comments of people that were expressing their opinion when it comes to Nick Offerman pitching The Last of Us prequel. And the first comment that we got here is, fan favorite, go ahead and make this show. It'll give us something to complain about besides Disney. Laughing out loud. Kind of true. I mean, we're all kind of anticipating that with The Last of Us and Halo. So we just love the pitch. I mean, because we're passionate. That's all.
Yeah.
Don't act excited. Their story has been told. Bad enough, Naughty Dog is remastering their games. Now HBO is remastering an episode of the show. Still waiting for a video game prequel of Joel before meeting Ellie. Have a chance to play as Joel again. What are you going to do? Work at a job? Like, what did he do before that? I mean, there's nothing there's no, dog. No, boom shakalaka. And don't do it. It was a perfect episode as is. Most boring episode of season 1. So we have conflicting comments. So, and we got the last comment. Ridiculous how they are just milking this one franchise. No new games announced, just remasters. Insomniac really carrying the load. So I thought that was a funny point. Was that the best episode in The Last of Us season 1? I'm curious on what you feel in first, HenricK.
Well, it was the most intriguing considering it was completely new. There was none of that in the game. So it was a completely new story in a sense because you knew who Bill was from the video game if you played it, but you didn't get that much backstory outside of the like contextual clues in the video game and some diary logs and things like that. But I thought it was a good episode. I don't think it was a bad episode, but also I could see for a lot of people be a little jarring, considering it was a complete different concept, almost like it was plucked out of a different show and put into this. And it was in between a couple of episodes that were more focused on the dread of this situation of being in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, I mean, we've during episode 2, we got the very first look of Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal finally confronting a clicker, and to me, that was the best episode of season 1, which is so unfortunate because second episode, like, really, that's the best one. And then you get to like the third one. I mean, I had no problem with it. I thought it was really, really cool. It was very different approach considering how in the video games, at least how I interpret it, was the individual that was hanging out with Bill ended up committing suicide in the video game because he felt like Bill was so freaking controlling of his little space of land that he fortified to not allow zombies into the mix. So he didn't like the control. He wanted to leave the outside space and explore the new world. What ended up happening? He got bit. Compared to the TV series, I won't spoil it. Maybe some people haven't seen it because, after all, as of yesterday, that was the 1-year anniversary of The Last of Us TV series coming out.
True.
So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and take a look. I mean, season 2 is going to be dropping, they say, in 2025. A lot of casting announcements are slowly being released. So if that's for you, check it out. But please, for the love of God, Nick Offerman, no musical prequel. All right, let's move it along, fam. So what do we got cooking up, HenricK The WrecK?
Oh, yeah. So Capcom, the big publisher, developer, they're in the news because games from them are being review bombed after the developer recently introduced new anti-modding software. And so back in October 2023, Capcom asserted that mods were, quote, no different than cheating, causing a pretty negative response from players. This month, Capcom pushed that mindset further, introducing a piece of software called Enigma, which is a DRM software made by a company to prevent this sort of thing. And thus, modding the game itself is now a difficult process. Gamers were quick to react with the rage online with the following comments.
Yeah, so the very first comment that we got here is, and you can kind of explain with the software Enigma, it's aimed at preventing modders from accessing its game's .exe files, allowing it so you can't mod the game. So going into the Reddit thread of people discussing the matter, Capcom JP has recently taken a hardline stance against modding. People are speculating that it's due to Chun-Li nude mod accidentally being used during a Street Fighter 6 tourney. But I'm personally of the opinion it's related to them seeing mods as a competition for their outfit-based microtransactions. My speculation is because mod is a free DLC. I think that's a good point that I think people
a good point. Yeah.
in the modding community are forgetting. Because Japanese developers generally do not understand PC gaming or modding, they think there is something fundamentally wrong about people being able to modify their work and wish to retain control over the image and product they put out. It's a very big cultural difference between them and I think a lot of the rest of the world. These companies really hate the PC community. This is the one thing I didn't anticipate converting from the console. Had the same complaint on Kingdom Hearts Collection on Epic. Not only is it way more expensive than console version, but there are also still online-only DRM years after release. This kind of shit should legitimately be illegal. The game I purchased should not be allowed to remove function and features and lock me out of stuff. Hopefully, someone takes them to court over this the same way they took Sony to court for removing the Linux feature from the PS3. And last, time to pirate. Shout out to Capcom for making their single-player games free. So, I mean, that comment essentially spells out exactly what Capcom's talking about. They want you to buy their product. They do not want you going back and revisiting games and re-enhancing them for their own entertainment. I mean, look at yeah, you could think the new mod, that was bad. Don't get me wrong. Really, really bad. Very awkward, right?
Yeah.
But again, at the same time, use that example to also recognize that, that's essentially a new skin, right? Even though the character's naked. Could you imagine? You could put anybody you want. You could put Thanos in. You can put, you can have a Capcom versus Marvel game, and then all of a sudden you're adding in Marvel characters. You're like, holy shit, that's Chris Evans, Captain America. That makes them panic because they're not seeing the dollar bills, coming their way. So with that being, said, Henrik, all these comments are bringing up excellent points, but why don't they just come out and say this has nothing to do about combating cheaters? This is all about protecting the dollar bill.
Well, one of the comments did mention there is that cultural difference of not entirely understanding where the modders are coming from, because a lot of the modders are from the West societies rather than over in Japan. And so modders, a lot of times they want to just add to the game because they love the game, they are passionate about it, they go to great lengths sometimes actually to even make mods possible in the first place. But at the same time, from the perspective of Capcom, if they see things as, oh, okay, this is the same as cheating, I understand that, but really it is coming down to a monetary thing when you really look at the use case of DRM, because usually DRM, not even just Enigma, but the more notorious one, De Novo, is used to kind of secure the launch period of a game, where the DRM is added so that for sure no one can pirate the game for at least a week or two.
Yeah.
Depends on how long it takes for the pirates to really crack the system. But in that week or two of time, if you want to play the game, you can't pirate it, so you have to buy it. And it's kind of like to secure that investment a little bit. But in this case, it's more of they're looking at their older library of games and saying, oh, we're going to put DRM on our older games. And the question then is, why is that? Well, it must be because of the modding, because they don't want to have any modding.
You know why I think that's the case? I don't even think it's that. I think the reason why they're starting off with the older games in their library is because they want to test it out on those games before they adapt that new system into the newer games. They want to make sure it's completely polished up because, for one, Resident Evil Revelations was one of the first games that placed the DRM in it, and we saw a lot of people complain about performance issues. They go, what the hell happened? My game's all getting buggy, it's glitchy, what the heck's going on? And so that's probably what they were panicking about. You go ahead and you place this new DRM on the new Street Fighter, and people start having their game being broken, and then bad publicity coming their way. Oh my gosh, they get way more onslaught than they're getting right now. So I think they're testing out the system for the older games, and then they're going to adapt it into the newer one. But I still can't get behind Capcom saying, even since October, we really trying to do this approach just to really kind of combat this whole ordeal with the mindset, it's no different than cheating. Really, man? No, it's no different than pirating. That's what you mean.
Especially when this DRM is being put on single-player games. It's understandable.
Right.
In like an online game where you're competing against other people. That's why there's been this constant back and forth of, cheaters on a game like Call of Duty, subverting the system, and then them having to come in and, modify their anti-cheat and bolster it up a bit. And then for a bit of time, there's less cheaters, and then they kind of beat the system again. It's this game of cat and mouse constantly for those games.
Yeah.
But for a single-player game, you're not playing with anybody but yourself. So are you cheating no one but yourself then out of the experience?
That's a great point. I mean, and then I also think about, how there's reports of Game Shark coming back, right? They're going to call it Game Shark AI, and they keep saying, no, it's not going to be as it used to be back in the day, cheating / modding, whatever. It's going to be able to kind of enhance the gameplay. Will Capcom have a problem with that product? Is that considered cheating?
Probably.
So
it's an external thing, so they wouldn't be able to necessarily see what's going on, but they probably would have a stance against it.
Right. Like, hey, what do you mean? You're using a Game Shark on our game, our product? No. That doesn't fly because, again, it's all about the dollar bills, yo. So if you don't understand that, and gamers out there, I mean, you got to protect the value of the dollar. I mean, again, video games dominates all industry, movies, television, music, and theater combined. So yes, they do not want gamers or modders to get creative and start enhancing their games for better or worse. So that's just kind of, fact. I mean, especially considering at the top of the show, we were, I know it's Capcom's not associated with like Tomb Raider, but think about it. They're trying to remaster games and they're not adding a whole lot to the graphics, right? So when you start having modders kind of doing the same thing or even doing better, how does that help the AAA studios be able to sell a product when modders are just going to go 7 days or 14 days after a first glimpse, they go, look at what we did. I mean, we there's even reports that Fallout 4 is coming out, right?
I was going to say that's the notorious thing with Bethesda games, that the modders do so much better than the actual studio at remastering these games.
Now that's another great point, because Capcom clearly has a strong stance that they're not for modders. But then you got Bethesda, who has come out and embraced modders. So why are there two conflicting scopes of how we view this? Is it because it works better in an open world environment, considering maybe something like a Street Fighter or other Capcom games? I mean, is it because Bethesda has nothing to lose?
It's the perspective, most likely, because Bethesda, they see it as, if we have modders in our community that are really enjoying our games, then we should support them, because they're actually the ones keeping the game alive for much longer than we are, because we can only do so much as a studio to push out updates and DLC, because it just doesn't make sense after a certain point of time to continue to invest in that product after its launch. It's been that whole debate actually in regards to Starfield, because Starfield, according to the modders, is not a great game to mod in. And Bethesda has to go in and actually fix a bunch of things before it becomes actually nice to mod in. And a lot of these modders are not wanting to invest the time to fix Bethesda's issues just to be able to mod the game.
But also Bethesda's trying to make it a little bit more custom, because remember, we reported on it last season that they opened up a modding tab inside of Skyrim. And I mean, I think they're embracing it, because who would have ever thought that people would be still playing Skyrim to this day?
Yeah.
I mean, I even
that came
revisited
out in 2011.
I know. And the crazy part is I was one of those cats that revisited that game last year. I got the PS Premium, so I saw it. I go, man, I want to take a trip down memory lane. I want to do it. I saw the anniversary. I was like, I'm going to be one of those cats. I mean, so it's amazing to see that.
And a lot of people, they go back to play it, not necessarily vanilla, but if you're on PC, a lot of times people go back to play it multiple times because they add mods to it and it changes the experience.
Right, exactly. So there are pros and cons to it, but gamers, whether you think it's right or wrong, I think Capcom has a point to try to defend their product. But we also want to hear from you. Comment, let us know how you feel. Is this the right move moving forward, or should they embrace modding for generations to come? But man, this has been such a great jam-packed show of Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And to remind everybody, you definitely want to go ahead and hit the like, share, and subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a live show. This is my QR code to be able to follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel, along with HenricK The WrecK. Take a moment, screenshot, grab, do your thing, fam. HenricK The Wreck's got a lot of amazing content cooking up, live streams, and so much more. But we also wanted to take a moment towards the tail end of the show to make an announcement that we feel is important moving forward for the future of Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And that is to bring our live streaming program to a new time/date. And so we have decided moving forward for the rest of 2024 to bring the live streaming program to Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'll speak real briefly, and then I'll hand it off to you, the reason why we decided to make this move. But I feel like it's important. We really want to embrace, more comments live on air. I mean, hearing from you guys is what elevates this show, and we have so much fun reading your guys' comments after the episodes get released, in the edited versions. But we want more live interaction. And the more we kept reading about analytics when it comes to YouTube, a lot of suggestions were suggesting that you should try to air your live streaming shows late at night because, we're here, it's 11 o'clock as we speak right now, Pacific Standard Time, and we understood that we had a larger viewership during the summertime, but as you guys went back to work, went back to school, we understand that it's very difficult to wake up early in the morning and check out Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, so we wanted to make that new change and that new approach. But let me hand it off to HenricK The WrecK. Why do you feel like this is such an important time now with Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show to make this new change?
Well, you just got to try things, the way that things are in anything, you have to try it first to really know if it works or not. And it might be that it might not be much of a change, or it might be a big change.
Yeah.
But we'll really find out after a bit of time and trying it. And I think that we're both excited to try it out because
big time.
It's going to be a bit of a change in our schedules. But I personally am going to make a commitment actually that after the shows, I'm going to be live streaming for a little bit of time afterwards, kind of showing some behind the scenes stuff of me working on content for our channels, and then also just playing video games and having fun with people.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, it's just more of a time for us to be able to connect, and that's also an excellent point too, especially when we get to have you guys join us, later at night at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday. We will be able to have those open opportunities where we can carry on the streams even after a live show. Yeah, there might be a quick pause, there might be a 15-30 minute break, but there might be times where you might see us jumping on together playing video games, editing the source of the material after the show, and just kind of bring you into the scope of how to bring an independent live show to the public. And so we're very, very excited. A lot of things are cooking up our way, and enjoy the ride. So obviously, you will be reminded more and more. So make sure you follow our social media accounts to know more information about episode 3 and further episodes for season 4. But that is all, fam. Thank you for joining us again every week on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, and we will see you next week at our new timing, 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Peace.
6 p.m. See ya.